All right, you guys ready? Okay.
I probably get the other feedback when I'm shouting.
No, say with me, like,
All right, well, we have started, let's see. Yes, we started recording, so I'd like to welcome everyone to our AI at AU Forum. Today, we're having Dr. An Nguyen and Dr. Santu Carmaker and Dr. Satya Ankar, and they're going to be having a panel discussion on the topic of artificial general intelligence. So what I'll do is let them kind of just introduce themselves to you very quickly, and then we'll start in with some questions. Okay.
All right, yeah. Where's the camera?
The camera's going to be right up there. These two. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Great. So my name is Hank. I've been here for 7 years. I have been working on explainable AI for the rest of 10, 11 years. I'm very excited to build AI that can explain themselves that are robust in edge cases.
hi, my name is Shantu. I have been here for 1.5+ years, and then I recently moved to Florida, and we were talking about all the hurricanes there. I'm still an assistant professor. I do natural language processing, large language modeling, and my research agenda is more like, how do you make AI tools more democratic so that people can access them more easily? So that's what I'm trying to pursue through kind of use AI to democratize AI itself. That's the kind of.
I'm Satya Ankar. I'm an assistant professor. I've been here 2 years. 2 years, yeah. So I work in computer vision, more specifically neurosymbolic AI for event perception and AI for robotics.
All right. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started with some questions. If you can speak up just a little bit, some folks out there in virtual land, some of them hear very well. One person kind of said, well, if they can get closer to the mic, and I don't know where the mic is. All right, so if we could just speak up, just just a little bit. Okay. All right. First question. And you guys we can get three different answers. What is artificial general intelligence? What is it?
So first of all, there are many definitions. Depending on who you ask, they will give you a different answer. If you ask Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, he will say that AGI is a system where it basically achieves or outperforms humans on all economically available tasks. Right? For example, writing reports, finding a cure to cancer, basically anything that makes money. That humans is doing, and you can build AI that's better at those tasks that you achieve AGI. But then the other tasks, but many other definitions. But in my own definition, if you can think of it simply as before, in the old days, in the 1980s, up until before deep learning era, people built AIs to solve only one task at a time, like we question answering, image classification, only one task at a time. These days, the model is doing more and more tasks at the same time. Only a single model. AGI is the idea where you basically get achieved in multiple different fronts using the same mechanism.
Okay, I can add something to it. So the way I look at it is, yes, you will get a lot of different definitions, right? So I don't think the definition of intelligence itself is a decided fact, like term, right? What do we mean by intelligence? Sometimes we say like people who has a large memory, they are intelligent just because they can throw up information. Like, is that really an intelligence? we still debate about, there is a philosophical debate here, right? So what is intelligence? So that's the first thing. And then again, general is again another philosophical term, I would say, like it's always debatable, like at what level you draw the line that this is general versus this is specific. So I think in terms of when we talk about AGI, there has to be a baseline, right? With respect to what is general and what is not general. And that's where the baseline, I think the most sensible one that makes sense to me is humans, right? So again, what I'm saying, right? If you surpass humans, that's one way of looking at it, or maybe just comparable with humans, right? That's kind of also the definition of Turing machine, right? So the idea is to have some comparison with humans in terms of the wide range of tasks we can do, not just one particular task. Yeah.
Yeah, but that also means that humans are the pinnacle of intelligence. It's debatable that.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's more of how an agent can adapt to new tasks without having to explicitly program it for one or many tasks. How can it? So it's generalization part, at least according to me, is how you can adapt from your experience to this new task without having to have a hand-holding thing with guidance for all the steps. So that's what makes us intelligent. So we can learn new things. So I think that might be what I view as intelligence.
Yeah, very good. Now, it's been said by a CEO, I guess, just this week, said that we're about a few thousand days from AGI. How true is that in your opinion?
We've been about 8 years away from self-driving cars for the last 15 years.
Okay.
About the same estimate, I would say.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, if you're following like Twitter, and then there are like people who criticize that LLMs as being a mere parrot kind of thing, it's just throwing up things that it doesn't know, then they are saying like, we are at least like 20, 30 years away, right? So, but then some people will just try to say, okay, we have achieved this, and GPT-5 will kind of like make it, right? So it's you can always make predictions, but then based on my experience, I still feel the way we look at these sequence models, I don't think they are real world models. I mean, these are just virtual sequence models. And the sequence sometimes makes sense to us and feels like it's doing magic. I don't think it's still what we want to call intelligence. So I'm not in that part, or I'm not part of that group who kind of says, okay, we are almost there. No, I don't think so. Right.
You had a.
No, I have no comments.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, then you started talking about sequence models. Okay. Yeah, so well, let me, natural language processing, GPT, Chat GPT, Jeff Hinton has kind of gone on record to saying that, these large language models, they actually do understand language. Do you agree with them, disagree with them? Is he, there's some other things that he said too that we can talk about, but what do you think about that?
Right now, the best models in the world still struggle in like telling exactly what are the letters in the word.
Okay.
You type out a word, you can guess most of the letters in the word, but it cannot type exactly all the letters in the word. What else can you say? It's not even reading the way human reads.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think there's a huge difference. So we had a recent paper with Low and our labs where we showed that if you show the best model, the two circles near each other, it cannot tell you whether the two are overlapping or not. Somehow the blurry is behaving like as if the model is myopic.
Okay.
So these two examples in both field vision and text tell you there's a huge differences. And if you use the human definition of understanding language, it's basically probably very hard. So it's probably better to measure them in some objective measure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So we just published a paper just claiming this, right? That LLMs don't understand language. And the way we try to show this is, this is coming in EMNLP this year, so it's happening in like 10 days, less than 10 days, right? So the point is, if you, like, as a human, what do you expect? If you take a paraphrase of a particular sentence, and versus if you kind of flip the sentence with a negation, as humans, you will think the paraphrase, which is essentially should be telling the same thing, should be more semantically similar compared to how you put a negation, right? The negation should be semantically far away from your paraphrases. But a lot of large language models just fail at that. If you just look at their embeddings and you compute the similarity, again, that's another debate. How you compute similarity is like just a vector and with some cosine similarity. Is that the right metric? But that's what the community has been doing. I think we don't even know how to measure similarity right now. So I don't think it understands language.
Okay.
It's still a parrot to me that can listen to a lot of things and kind of try to create those tones and kind of sequences that make sense to us.
I'll just add one point to that. So
Okay.
the question is a layered question.
Okay. All right.
So what do you mean by understand language? Grammar is part of language. LLMs certainly do understand grammar to some extent, at least better than many humans. Now the semanticness, that's where the thing comes in. Right?
Okay.
So constructing grammatically correct sentences, semantically coherent sentences, they certainly have shown really good performance. And how that comes about is with different kinds of techniques that they do. But understanding requires, again, better tests to measure what do you mean by understands something. Is it about answering questions? Is it about paraphrasing things? Is it about similarity, prediction, right? We don't really know what that is.
Yeah.
In our humans, we have IQ tests to measure your quick response rates. Reasoning that you can do within a short period of time. Does high IQ mean that you have high intelligence or you understand what you're doing? Right? There's levels to that, and in humans, we don't have an objective measure of understanding in anything. Education, we focus on tests, answering questions. Now we don't know who's answering the questions. Is it ChatGPT answering our questions in tests, or is it the student? Right? So again, we still don't know how we can measure understanding. And I don't know how we do that with LLMs. Your recent paper might point to what we'll do, but I don't know.
It's just a tiny step. I mean, we don't have a solution. We just highlight the problem.
All right. So we have this notion of artificial general intelligence, but now more I've been hearing about artificial super intelligence. So I guess this is where general intelligence is supposed to be like us, and super okay, super intelligence is supposed to be greater than us. So what does either AGI or artificial super intelligence, do they pose any risk, in your opinion? You know what I'm going to ask to humanity. Okay, now there's you can line up all the experts, right? And they're all over the map on this. But what do you think?
Yeah, so I think in the last 3 years, very lucky that all of us were alive to witness this LLM era. Before that, before 2021, and before that, when I did my PhD, everyone talks about like singularity.
Right.
So singularity is where you're improving the intelligence of basically anything. But until that point, your improvement is like exponential. Before that, it's all steady, and you don't know where you're going. So last few years, it was exactly like that. You see LLM, it's crazy. It's just crazy how it improves from GPT-3 to 01. And the amount of time it has solved, and the amount of application, the companies, the models are outdated by this frontier model. So if you just try to imagine this in the future, in a lot of different domains, yeah, huge amount of risk that we cannot actually foresee. Right, from how much the ethical models are, how do they destroy humanity, right? Or the amount of jobs will be lost to AIs.
Mhm.
What will humans do? And then there's tons of questions with risk everywhere. Because this is never happened before in history.
Mhm.
And that's why there's the huge debate that in California, should you put a cap on the model size or not? And this is a huge debate between two ACM Turing winner, Joshua Bengio, and
Mhm.
one say yes, one the other say no. You cannot just predict the future. Right.
And just around the,
Okay.
to me at least, the last part of what you said is the actual risk that we have for humanity.
Mhm.
How do humans use AI, right? That is what is gonna be the risk, at least according to me, right? Because you have these tools, right? You give access to the AI to use these tools, what instruction set that you give them, right? That is gonna be how they're gonna use it. And you think about, all the risks that have been highlighted so far, like misinformation, disinformation with like, generative imagery, right?
Mhm.
Fake text and all these things. The LLM or the model itself didn't do the misinformation. Someone prompted it, got that, and then they widely disseminate. So who's the risk is more not what AI will do, but what AI will enable people to do. And that's where the actual risk factor would come in, like, for jobs and to be honest, the industrial revolution was supposed to take away every single job, right? And it's gonna automate it. Just made jobs at a different level. Right? We didn't take away the manufacturing part, like manual work in the manufacturing thing. We made it faster, and the manufacturing jobs became more of a supervisor for machines. I think that's what will happen. Many of these easily automated jobs will just be replaced with AI, and the people would become, go to another job that will use this AI to come do the same thing, basically, but at a different level. Like maybe the manual labor is gone, the cognitive labor is reduced, but it's not going to, at least to me, it's not going to take away all the jobs. It might just create new jobs, but it might require us to update what we do to work with that.
To me, it kind of depends on the definition of the risk. So if you tell me like, okay, in terms of if the risk is defined as, okay, the robots are gonna take over humanity and they're gonna control everything, I don't think that's something we need to worry about right now. We are not at that stage. But if you think about like going to that general intelligence level and saying like, okay, we have made machines intelligent to an extent where they are comparable to humans, then you are essentially like, when you are surfing through web or you're interacting with someone, you don't probably even distinguish whether you are dealing with a human or you are dealing with a machine. That itself is a risk, right? I mean, if you are, we are all proud of being humans, right? And we have certain quality, and then sometimes we have this entity that we cannot even distinguish from humans. That itself is an identity threat kind of thing, right? So then, oh, I need this.
I'm thinking there's a mic. Let's see if that, I've had some other
Is it
people
getting
out. Is it getting
Is it getting
better out in the virtual
Is it on?
Yeah,
I think
it
it's on.
should be on.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Let's
just keep talking, so-
go ahead, we'll see.
So, yeah, so I see definitely some risk and threats. Definitely, any new technology will have some, and we need to really rigorously study them. But yeah, so everything taking over and like we will be like extinct, that's not something I see like in the foreseeable future, like that's too much.
We have one question out here on Zoom, and it says, having students in graduate education write a thesis or dissertation on their research is a historical tradition. but you anticipate LLMs will become a tool that does the majority of the writing, where the student simply provides the framework for what will be discussed. What do you think?
I have a very relevant example to tell you today, right? So I asked one of my students, okay, your abstract is too long, I want to send an email. Send me a brief version. What he did is actually went to LLM and asked it to paraphrase it, like squeeze it, compress it, and he just directly sent it to me. He didn't even read. And then
Oh, wow.
he claimed something, that the LLM put something in the thesis abstract claim that was never done. I said, like, did we do this? And he said, no. Then I said, like, why is that in your abstract? So the point is, you can use LLM in any way, but you need to thoroughly check what you are saying at the end. Like, it doesn't matter to me whether you are using LLM to write everything, but then it's your job to make sure go over that, and you are guiding it. But then once the generation is done, your job is not done. I mean, you are essentially, you take ownership of what you are writing, and to do that, you need to really understand what is being generated and what you are saying. Because I don't think the LLM cannot write it for you if you just give it for some instruction and guideline. That's still, it's gonna be some sequence that apparently makes sense, but that's not rigorous technical writing.
Yeah, so if you don't know the answer, don't use an LLM. That's what I tell my students, or anybody that I talk about LLMs with you. Unless you know the answer, just want a better way of writing it. LLMs might do the trick. And so the actual question of whether graduate students will use it or should use it, I think it's already being used. Right? Half the papers I read doesn't seem like something that people came up with.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can just go on Google Scholar, just say as a language model I cannot. You'll see at least tens of thousands of papers that came out in the last month.
Wow.
So like Sandra said, when you're using it, at least read it and make sure it's actually you writing it, or something that looks like a human.
Any questions from the audience? Okay, let's go. Oh, okay, go. Sam, go ahead.
Okay. So when we were talking about language models understanding language, to me, the way that we train a language model isn't the way a human learns. And like we have limited understanding really of what's going on in our brain when we learn, but like at least to our perception, we learn rules and we put rules together. We don't make probabilistic predictions about what word we should write next. We have some rules about what words are allowed to go together, heuristics. Do you think that it's even possible to attain an LLM that like understands language in the way that human does by training it in a completely different way than we train a human?
Who wants to? Should I? Okay.
You're the NLP guy.
Okay, so the point is, let's go to more fundamental things, right? Everything is now neural network in some sense. And how it learns? It learns through backpropagation, right? Now, backpropagation uses a lot of multiplication. And if you look at human brain study, it cannot even do multiplication. So that's a fundamental difference between how human brain processes things versus, because human brain, the models that we know so far, and again, we know very little about human brain, but that's essentially like you accumulate and you fire. That's it. Accumulation is more like an addition. So multiplication is more complex. Yes, one can argue that's a sequence of addition and all you do, but the brain doesn't have that time to do that at a very quick speed, right? So backpropagation itself makes it artificial, which is not natural if we think humans as natural. But then I can see a future when the definition of natural will be challenged, like what is natural, right? So, but that's a different thing. But I think definitely we need more natural in the way if our baseline is humans, then we need neural models that are more human-like, right? Maybe neurosymbolic, maybe spiking neural networks. There are different theories out there. We just don't know. And we also, there is a kind of ballpark number saying only we know 9% of our brains. We don't even know the 91%. If we don't know that, how can we even like be like that? That's another one.
Yeah, let's say that we get AGI tomorrow from one of these frontier labs, right? I understand that you all are computer scientists and not political scientists, but what do you think what a reasonable approach from the federal government would be in that situation? Would that frontier lab immediately be nationalized? Do we let this private company hold the most powerful technology since nuclear weapons? The NSA or a former NSA member joining the OpenAI board of directors makes me think that these frontier labs are already thinking about this, and they're probably doing the nationalization route. I'm interested to hear your thoughts.
And they're certainly thinking about it. So if you look at the thing with OpenAI and Microsoft, so OpenAI can get out of the Microsoft deal if they think AGI is a cheat. That's a clause that they put in before O1 came. GPT-4, that's when they did. So certainly, people think that that's the scale to AGI. And I don't know about the political part of things, but there is certainly opinion that, these tech should be regulated. And it's easier to regulate it if you have more control over it. But yeah, people are thinking about what would happen if AGI came, but I don't know about the politics here.
It probably will be the same as any other technology. I think one thing is we should remind ourselves is, for example, when the question is, are you going to pay the blood first before you regulate it? Or are you going to be smart and regulating before you pay? Right? If you walk on campus, you see the bus stop always stop in front of the rail track. Because 50, 80 years ago, there was an accident where somebody crossing and then the buses hit the person on the track. So now they always need to stop before they pass the track. So someone needs to pay, and then the regulation comes. That usually happens in every field. And if you want to be smart and try to regulate, there is always a group of people that say, this is not a good idea, I don't see it. So this is a human thing. But eventually everyone will want to control it, because this is a thing that's going to damage a lot of areas. It's going to be damaged. Makes everyone happy, then probably they don't need
it. So my question is, will it be possible that in one day, that AGI or whatever forms of AI has developed so advanced, and it has been surpassed our human beings' intelligence, and that the next time, like in fiction movies, like you always say, oh, this AI has feelings. And will he, she, I can't say he, she, or AI will be just like it. Will it just eventually take over the world like that? Because recently you heard that in the Claude, the 3.5, that stuff can control your computer. And in China, we got a AI tool called AutoGMM, and AutoGMM is able to, when you download it, and if you talk to him saying, please write me a email, and he will literally do that stuff for you, and it's able to easily control your smartphone with this. And when the time if it becomes more and more intelligent, will it take over the human being world and eventually impose a threat for permanent society? Or maybe it will not, and people will be able to control it under not let it not let it in charge of us.
Who wants to? I can.
So the question is AGI going to have feelings?
Yeah, like will it like surpass our intelligence and not have feelings and control us? And not as long like currently we are controlling them, but will it be realistic that one day they take over the human supply?
Okay, I think this question is again going to that extinction kind of thing and takeover kind of thing, right? So let's take a biological kind of perspective to this, right? So if we follow Darwin's theory of evolution and kind of survival of the fittest, right? So then, in order for something to survive in the long term and someone to get extinct, you need them to be superior in some way, and there has to be a process how they kind of create generations, right? They sustain, right? So, and they remain fit over humans. Right now, I don't think that level is near in terms of machines, but yes. Now, if we talk about arbitrary long time, right? So then it becomes 1,000 years, or even like we still have 14 billion years left, right? For the Big Bang, that's a long time. Nobody can predict what is going to happen, but in order for so you need just emotion is not going to do it, right? You need breeding technology in some sense for AI to remain. If I kill some AI, then there has to be someone to speak for AI to take over. So that has to be there. Then their fitness have to improve over time, and if we and the point when we are not able, so it has to be an individual being, which basically means you have to have some conscience, and then you have to have sentience, and like you name it, right? So that is something I don't think it's just a matter of one factor. It's a matter of multi different factors and probably combination of things that we don't even know today. So if we think about like it took 14 billion years, maybe no 4 billion. So let's say life started like 10 billion years later, right? With some randomization, with some random probability, let's say. So it's, to me, it sounds similar to that kind of random probability that will take so long with so many combinations to make that magic happen. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's how I look at it.
I think so.
Sorry.
It's just to add on to that, right? So the extinction part and for humans, it's again with the evolution thing, it would mean that the humans stop evolving and the AI is the only thing that evolves. There's one thing about humans and nature, the evolution never stops. Right? You're assuming that humans will never, move beyond what we have right now. I doubt that's a possibility that will happen. Right? If AGI does happen, ASI does happen, it's probably just humans are going to evolve to live with. It's not going to be something that's going to. It's not like humans are just going to stop. I'll just say that.
But there are many incidents. For example, there's a Maya civilization. There are a lot of advanced civilization that was washed out in the past, according to the history, archaeology. So it could very well happen again. Washed out again, so we evolved from zero again. Why not?
Okay.
Can I have a comment here?
Yeah, go ahead, make it.
I think we're gonna have two generations, generation before AI and generation after AI. So
Okay.
all these new kids coming, seeing the AI is like, oh, I can do this in AI. If we use AI or become dependent on AI, probably AI is gonna be superior and we're gonna extinct. Because now if you look at it, you're not just like if you look in Facebook, social media, you share your habits, Facebook and things like that, or pictures and things like that. When you look into those AI models, you start sharing your thoughts. And like, hey, I don't want to do it. I just ask ChatGPT to write it for me, do it for me. So you start thinking critically about anything and you just throw it in AI. If we make this as a habit, we might become dependent and AI will become superior. And that's where the problem is. So we have to balance it out and like work with AI, still use our brain a little bit, let AI make it better. But if we lose that, we're just gonna be non-existent.
It's just a silicon brain.
Yeah.
Silicon problem.
That's so spot on.
Yeah.
I think there will be a huge polarization among humanity. Some people will be washed out. Sorry, by all the technology and all the AIs,
Uh-huh.
both neuroscientifically and also like your competence in the job. You cannot beat AI, you'll be watched out.
Mhm.
But there will still be the other side where they can leverage and then right away can become user of the AI to advance the society. But there will be huge polarization.
Wow. Interesting. We have a number of questions out on Zoom. First one is, what concerns do the panel have about the current, not future, state of the art in AI, especially foundational model-based decision-making, being rapidly incorporated into military systems of many nations? What do you think about that?
Dear guys.
Actually, they are the slowest to adapt.
Yeah.
Inside, what nation actually claims they?
Oh, it is. Last time we saw news articles about drones that have these capabilities, military applications with, robotics with AI stuff. Because VLMs can do a lot of things.
Isn't DARPA something like trying crazy things? Like they're pretty fast,
Always.
right? So
We wouldn't have internet without.
So there are different agencies, right? And they have different mindsets. So I think DOT, some agencies are conservative and they just do like development help. And some do more basic research that takes longer, like, okay, but then DARPA, they're an agency like that is very short span, right? So they probably change program managers like every 2 years or like 5 years. 3, I think. So it's like always evolving and if you submit anything that is already covered by something that people are already doing, then you are immediately rejected. So you have to kind of look into like more crazy things. So it depends on the agency. But I think in terms of like drones and all, so that's where it will get probably like a very high impact, right? Because people don't want to do work themselves. So they want to feel safe and they want to put robots to fight. And then at the real field, then if there is no human, the decision has to be by the machine and in some sense the collaboration with human. So the collaboration between human and machine becomes very tricky in DoD applications. So that's where, and then we are talking about very two different machines. If I can define humans as machines as well, some kind of machine, right? So, and they do things differently. One is better at something versus the other is better at something else. And the way of communication is also a big bottleneck, right? So think about a natural language versus a binary code, 0101. These are like probably like two farthest corners of language. And that's how we need to communicate, right? So I think it will boil down to the impact will mostly boil down to how efficiently we can model this collaboration between human and machine. And that's something in the active area, like everybody's like, not everybody, but a lot of people are working on, right? But again, this is gonna be tricky. When the third world war comes, we'll see the real impact. We just don't know when it's coming. But it's always feels like it's the next day.
Okay. All right, got another question. What is the future of AI in safety and AI in ethics? So we see a number of companies, at least one big spinoff, right? That's saying they want safe super intelligence. So AI in safety, AI in ethics. What's the future research in your opinion?
So there is this, because since in the last 5 years, there's already people working on it. It's for example, some problems for AI alignment. Like how do you align the values of human with what AI is as a values so that you can use them, there's also a work where you detect misinformation. There's also works where you detect what the model outputs, AI output is appropriate to humans or not, and you try to correct it, or you try to ban it, you try to improve the model. these are all ongoing, both safety and what is the other term? Ethics. Yeah, safety is more about, it's more objective. And this effort has been going on for at least 5 years, as far as I know. Building models that can behave well in the edge cases, in the rare scenarios, in the hard applications. But ethical AI is another story where probably we need to first define what's ethical.
Yes. Yes.
How much of a screen time, how much of a GPT in the writing dissertation is ethical? It's hard to say. You allow AI surgeon to operate on you, right? What if the AI makes a wrong decision and cut your ears, for example? Who's gonna be held accountable? So points to the ethics of using the AI.
Right. Okay. One more question, then we'll ask questions from the in-person audience. It says, so here's the question. I guess it's how will the LLM models, how can they contribute to research fields such as dealing with large size time series data? In your opinion, will LLM-based transformers be better than traditional RNN or CNN for doing these kind of solving these kind of time series problems? So I guess basically we have some traditional type approaches for time series analysis, and so LLMs can kind of do that. How good are they?
You want me to answer? Okay, yeah, Satya's turn. Yeah, it's been silent for a while.
I mean, so me, LLMs aren't really related to time series at this point, but transformer models, yes. Right? So because yes, to some extent. Right? So because it's been easier to train these models as opposed to traditional sequence-based models like RNNs and LSTMs, because of their ability to parallelize the sequential data when you train it. So with RNNs and LSTMs, you have to go through the sequence before you can get to the end time step. With transformers, with the attention and the masking technique, you can train these sequential data in parallel, and that is why transformers have, for the lack of a better word, transformed sequence-based modeling like text-based stuff. This because we've had language models for a while, RNN-based ones, LSTM-based ones, like early 2000s and
97, I think LSTM.
it's been around for a while. Language models as such, or any sequence-based stuff. Transformers have just allowed us to realize Rich Sutton's bitter lesson, right? The scaling laws. The more, if your model can't scale with data and compute, it's bound to lose over something that does. Right? So the reason why transformers have worked in almost every field is because of its scaling laws. Now, whether it's going to be an exponential thing where it just keeps scaling the data, we don't know. Right? But yeah, for sure, transformers will definitely help just because of its ability to scale with data and compute.
All right, very good.
You want me to?
Yeah, all right.
Yes, so yeah, the answer is, I think the answer is almost like we see an answer already. We kind of know an answer, right? Because RNNs had its own problems why LSTM was introduced. There is this vanishing gradient problem, and so RNN is probably even out of question, right? LSTM still, it's a sequential model. The problem was, if you have a long sequence, then you have to go over the entire sequence before you can backpropagate the loss. I mean, sorry, this is more probably technical, but and then the way transformers solve it is exactly what Satya said, right? So now you don't really, you process sequence in a parallel fashion, which is more like a paradoxical thing, right? How can a sequence be parallel? And then that's kind of the magic that transformers do by introducing those positional encoding and then attention and all those things, right? So, and right now, if you see like no more like fundamental advancement is happening, it's just scaling. And that's what transformers are really good at. So I think transformers have already proved themselves superior compared to other traditional models in time series or sequence learning. That's we already something that we know.
All right. Okay, a couple more questions here. What are the environmental costs of developing and maintaining AGI, and are these costs justified?
That's the vision research. That's not me, because I don't need that much compute.
I think there was one famous question to Sam Altman, again, the CEO of OpenAI, is that to reach AGI, we need a Earth-sized computer.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a hard question. But one question because it's both algorithm and hardware. The statistic I just looked up a few days ago was by 2028, by Epoch AI, a company that does research in the future of AI. We probably will run out of data to train LLMs. In terms of number of tokens. So they are like estimated 300 trillion tokens. The public text on the internet. So, but by 2028, we will use everything. Very likely. The question is what to do after you have used all the data.
Yeah.
But so far we enjoy the ride because we still enjoy the data, more data and the scaling. But now it's not a problem about data anymore. It's about either infrastructure or new algorithms, which probably will see a different story, not repeat the lesson.
So does that mean the scale of architecture is like even faster than the way the amount of data we're generating? Because that's what has happened. Because data is being generated every day.
You mean oh yeah. Because this is human written.
Yeah,
And 300 trillion is human written. It's not like AI.
data is being generated, but how much of it is
Okay.
But I think the other side of that question about the impact on the environment, the climate change aspect of things, that is also a valid thing because GPUs are power hungry. Take a GPU cluster, say 4 GPUs, train it over, on your home thing. I've done that before. During COVID, I trained like four GPU machine at home. My electricity bill went from 110 to 450 just for that month.
Did you get reimbursement?
So
This is expense, right?
Yeah.
Research expense.
so that's for 4 GPUs. You're talking about 100K GPUs, 320K GPUs you might have. And then that's electricity, and then how do you get the electricity? Carbon neutral stuff. So this is a thing that's been debated, with ethical use of AI. Training big models takes a lot of money and carbon emissions and all these things. So whether it's worth it, I think that question will be answered by the artificial superintelligence that we create with this. Maybe it can answer whether it's justified.
And I also think like if we keep relying on back propagation, there is no easy way to get it out. Like, so you need an energy efficient alternative for back propagation to actually like solve this
Still use GPUs, it's not the same.
problem.
All right, some few more questions here. We'll go ahead and say them real quick and get you guys to answer them. Got 3 questions. Okay, I'm gonna just give them to you, and then you answer what you can, what you want. First question: large companies like Google, OpenAI, Meta have all required resources and data for AI research. These companies are driving the innovation and discovery, and it is impossible to beat them. Where can we still make significant contributions as individuals or small teams? Okay, that's the second question is, do you think AI will bring greater transformation to healthcare systems in the upcoming years? Can people with severe acute diseases afford to get advantages and solutions from that? And the last one is if AGI becomes harmful, makes a harmful decision, who is accountable? Okay, so large companies, hey, they're doing all the stuff. Where do we fit in?
That's a question we ask ourselves every day.
How do we save our jobs?
But my thing is if you look at all of these companies, they're all focused on similar technologies. They focus on similar things. Take any of these companies, you're talking about LLMs, you're talking about agentic architectures that rely on natural language as a common. And they believe it or not, it's focused on money, right? What is best for their company, their products, the use cases, every single innovation that comes out of these, research projects is something that is useful for their business model. Yeah, Sam Altman language is the way to go because that's what they're good at. Of course, we announced that might change that stuff. But there are things that you can work on other than this. Identify those, I guess.
Right.
And then work with it. So the only thing that I like to follow every single time I see a paper coming from these companies that are doing exactly what we've been trying to do is what Bill Freeman from MIT keeps saying, right? So there's more than one way to do a thing. That's the first one. Second is that if you try something unconventional, it's going to be hard to publish. It's going to be hard to make an impact. It's okay to take a loss, right? You can publish at a less prestigious venue, build up your thing, because anything new isn't going to beat what's existing. Just ask, the Turing Award winner Jan LeCun, right? He couldn't even publish at CVPR for 4 or 5 years, and then they stopped publishing at CVPR. He created iClear just for that, right? To have a better environment. But now you can publish at CVPR at least for a while without having CNNs in there. Try publishing a neurosymbolic thing, it doesn't work, right? Now you try publishing something without transformers, it doesn't work. So it takes a while for you to make that impact that these guys have done. If you're trying something new, that's the best way to get around this bubble. Because believe it or not, there's life outside of LLMs and AI. That's where things are less heated, and then just be patient with that. So you're not gonna beat the state of the art in the lab with 4 people in 1 year. It's gonna take years of working on things to get there.
Yeah, my take is like the two words I kind of keep hearing, right? Innovation and discovery. I kind of challenge this two terms that the companies are doing. Innovation, what? Scaling? We already know that. Is that innovation? Because we know if we scale more, throw more money at it, you get better. And the discovery is essentially again the same. Like you throw more things, build larger model, and you even get better. So can I call this like innovation and discovery? I challenge it.
Yeah, I have nothing to add, but what Jan LeCun says one thing is that you wouldn't be doing exciting stuff in academia. The only thing you can do is evaluating the model, finding the same.
That's correct. That's correct. We have professors.
Yeah.
All right, and this we'll wrap it up with this. I'll combine the last two questions. So, one question has to do with AI and healthcare. What kind of revelations do you see? Okay, and what will the average person be able to be able to afford some of the cures that maybe AI is going to develop? And what do we do if AGI makes a harmful decision? Right? Who's accountable? You kind of talked a little bit about this earlier on with the AI cutting off someone's ears, right, during surgery. But what do you think about those? AI and healthcare.
What's the question about healthcare again? Is it going to make impact?
Yeah, is it gonna, okay, AI will bring greater transformation to healthcare systems. Will it in the upcoming years? Can general people with severe acute diseases afford to get advantages and solutions?
Right, I think this is very, very interesting question. So if you read the article, that tells you the story of how Denis Hassabis with the chemistry Nobel Prize. The problem was the problem of protein unfolding is in 1950, and he thought about it around 2000. He waited almost 3 years to just start solving it. So I think that it's a matter of choosing the right problem in the healthcare to solve.
Okay.
You just throw money into like a medical imaging, but you don't have a lot of people with actually cancer, and then you don't take X-ray of them. Where do you get the data to train the model? That's not going to see, you're not gonna see a lot of improvement. I think the problem is where do you, what task do you take?
All right. Okay, with that, we're out of time, so
Isn't
let's,
there one more?
well,
question?
yes, okay,
Who
there's,
sell that? Who sell that?
you there is, if AGI makes a harmful decision, who is accountable?
Jerry.
Jerry's accountable.
Jerry had this panel, right?
And then after the panel, it all went wrong. Okay. All right. Okay, so at this time, we'll go ahead. Let's give our experts a round of applause. Okay. All right. Okay, thanks a lot, everyone.
Jerry.
Okay.
Jerry Parsons? Yeah.